Have you ever truly questioned what happens to the very core of your being each time you drift into sleep? Not in a speculative, theoretical sense, but from the perspective of genuine, lived reality. Picture those solitary, muted moments when you lie down and let your eyelids grow heavy, your body sinking into the darkness of a night. In that quiet stillness, the physical world recedes from your immediate awareness. Your breathing slows and your mind loosens its grip on daily worries. Conventional wisdom tells you that this is when you simply rest and rejuvenate, that your consciousness undergoes a mundane shutdown until the sun rises again. Yet countless ancient cultures held a more profound understanding, one that recognized sleep as a gateway, a sacred passage through which your spirit leaves its earthly anchor and explores realms so tangible and significant that they may rival or even surpass the vividness of your waking life. Across continents and eras, cultures have passed down veiled texts, coded instructions, and hushed teachings that carefully charted the soul's nightly voyage. These arcane revelations ranged from carved symbols on temple walls to hand-copied manuscripts full of cryptic images. Strikingly, a consistent message emerged in sleep. You were not merely resting, you were traveling. Yet modern institutions, be they scientific, religious, or political, often dismiss such notions as superstition or fantasy. In doing so, they contribute to a broader system designed to keep you ignorant of your innate multidimensionality. Because once people remember where consciousness truly journeys each night, it becomes harder for them to be manipulated by external forces. Ancient Egyptians, for instance, meticulously documented the stages the soul passes through when detached from its physical form. They wrote of hidden corridors and gardens that greet the spirit in the intermediate states. Similar concepts can be found in Tibetan teachings, especially those describing the between states the soul traverses after death, with startling parallels to the dream realm. Even in other traditions, from the Mayans to indigenous peoples, worldwide stories persist of night voyages where shamans, prophets, and common folk alike meet ancestors, spirit guides, and higher versions of themselves. These traditions did not view such experiences as mere illusions or inert dream images. Instead, they regarded them as crucial aspects of reality, coexistent layers that your consciousness taps into when it is freed from the confines of the body's senses. In your personal life, you might have tasted a sliver of this hidden truth. Perhaps you've had a dream that felt so real it haunted you the entire next day, or you woke with inexplicable knowledge about a problem you were grappling with in your waking hours. Maybe you noticed that certain symbols like keys or doors repeatedly appeared in your dreams, beckoning you to uncover some profound meaning. Each of these instances is a subtle clue. Like small puzzle pieces scattered over time, they suggest there is far more happening each night than any simple state of rest. Whether through distant historical lore or your own personal glimpses, the message is consistent. When your body sleeps, your soul is anything but idle. It moves into a dimension where fundamental truths become accessible, unhindered by everyday distraction. Consider for a moment how deeply ingrained the notion is that sleep merely serves as a biological necessity, a time for your brain to process daily inputs, to flush out toxins, to run through random neuroelectric misfires, resulting in meaningless dreams. Over decades, modern science and various educational systems have hammered home the explanation that dreams are purely byproducts of memory consolidation or the random recombination of images. While these perspectives do contain a kernel of truth, your brain does engage in complex housekeeping during sleep. They hardly scratch the surface of the far more expansive, timeless understanding held by esoteric traditions. These older teachings propose that your consciousness is never inactive. Instead, it is in a dynamic, fluid state that changes form based on your level of awareness. Think of it this way. If you watch water flow from a wide, winding river into a silent, hidden lake, you wouldn't say the water ceased to exist simply because it entered a quieter space. Similarly, your consciousness continues to navigate multiple layers of reality, even when your physical senses shut down. This continuity of awareness is essential to mystical teachings that speak of a silver cord, a luminous tether linking your astral body to your corporeal form. The moment you surrender to sleep, this astral essence begins its nightly excursion through planes that are subtle yet deeply structured. The historical record abounds with hints of this knowledge. Ancient cultures observed cyclical rituals around dream states, from the dream incubation chambers of Greece, where supplicants sought healing visions from the gods, to the rich dream diaries of indigenous shamans who used night imagery to predict hunting grounds and communal outcomes. These traditions weren't building elaborate mythologies without reason. They were systematically exploring consciousness the way modern science observes physical phenomena in a laboratory. Their lab just happened to be the dream realm. Over time, as more standardized forms of religion and governance took hold, these practices were suppressed, their texts hidden or destroyed. Perhaps those in power recognized that a person who actively navigates dream worlds wields a unique kind of freedom, one that doesn't rely on external approval or consensus. You may have encountered that subtle feeling upon waking up, sometimes an inexplicable sense of being elsewhere. It's as though a part of you returns from a distant journey just seconds before you open your eyes. You recall only scraps of face that felt more real than any day-to-day acquaintance, or a landscape so luminous and otherworldly that ordinary words fall short. These fleeting impressions, when acknowledged, can spark a longing to remember more. Indeed, many spiritual adepts believe that any concerted effort to recall one's dreams through consistent journaling, meditation, or focused intention is the first step in regaining your birthright of conscious dream travel. Once you start to suspect that your night visions are not random flickers of the brain, you may begin to question everything else about your waking life. If your consciousness is in fact traveling to domains rich in symbolic and emotional depth, what does that say about your daily experiences? What if the assumptions you carry about reality, about who you are, about what's possible, are incomplete, or in some cases, deliberate distortions handed down to keep you from fully realizing your potential? This line of inquiry can be disconcerting. It implies that much of what society teaches us to believe may be a partial truth at best, but it can also be liberating. A mind that is open to the continuity of consciousness across sleep and wakefulness may also begin to discern the subtle ways that both states intersect and influence each other. Dream symbols are not arbitrary. When you observe them closely, you discover that they echo patterns in your life. Patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior that persist whether you're asleep or awake. Vivid colors, recurring motifs, or even bodily sensations in dreams can mirror unresolved dilemmas or undeveloped abilities. Suppose you keep dreaming of wandering a dimly lit hallway filled with closed doors. In that scenario, the dream realm might be highlighting psychological or spiritual thresholds you have yet to open in your waking life. Conversely, a dream of soaring above endless landscapes could reflect a yearning for freedom that you unconsciously repress during your daily routines. Many revered spiritual systems teach that when you give proper attention to these nightly messages, your dream life begins to align closely with your waking reality, and vice versa. You might recognize signs in your day that echo a recent dream conversation or encounter synchronicities that feel like direct continuations of dream sequences. This isn't simply your imagination running wild. It's the deep interplay of layers of consciousness that your mind is finally noticing. It's no wonder then that certain authorities, whether secular or religious, prefer people to remain ignorant of the dream's true potential. An individual who wakes up inside their dreams is less likely to take the waking world at face value. They become more aware of how narratives are shaped, how beliefs are programmed, and how fear is used to maintain control. A conscious dreamer recognizes that both realms, waking and dreaming, can be navigated deliberately, often rewriting the storyline in real time. Such sovereignty of the mind poses a challenge to systems that rely on an unquestioning populace. As you mull over these points, a subtle but significant shift may occur in how you approach bedtime. No longer is it merely about turning the lights out and hoping for enough hours of rest. Instead, it becomes a deliberate, almost sacred ritual. You might find yourself quietly setting intentions like requesting insight, healing, or clarity just before sleep. This change marks an inner acknowledgement that you are venturing beyond the boundaries of what most consider ordinary reality. With each passing night, you cultivate intention. Your dreams begin to shift from hazy and fragmented to increasingly structured and meaningful. It's akin to stumbling upon a secret garden in your backyard that you never knew existed. The more you visit, the more vivid and diverse the flora becomes. Over time, you may encounter not just symbolic messages, but also entities, guides, ancestors, or aspects of your higher self who appear to offer counsel, solace, or even challenging lessons. Some spiritual traditions speak of these beings as guardians or gatekeepers of specific astral realms, while others interpret them as archetypes within the human psyche. Regardless of their origins, their presence points to an interactive dimension of experience in which you are far more than a bystander. Imagine a scenario you find yourself in a dream so lucid that you know you're dreaming. You look around to see vibrant colors and shifting shapes that respond to your emotional state. A figure approaches you with an object in hand. Initially, it appears nonsensical, yet when you receive it, you feel an unexplainable rush of insight or emotion. Upon awakening, you might recall this figure or object vividly, as though it holds significance beyond the dream space. In some cases, that significance becomes clearer days or weeks later, manifesting in conversations or situations in your waking life. Suddenly, you realize that the dream was offering a glimpse into a deeper truth or a future possibility. This phenomenon is precisely what ancient esoteric traditions taught in the dream state. Time does not behave in a linear manner. Instead, you can merge memory, present awareness, and potential futures into a single canvas of experience. Thus, a dream of a future event isn't necessarily a rigid prophecy. It can be more like an invitation, alerting you to a path that could unfold if your waking choices align with that trajectory. You might call it a preview, enabling you to change the course of certain outcomes if you're mindful enough in the waking world to alter your decisions. Yet, stepping into this level of dream engagement demands a willingness to face aspects of yourself that you may have long ignored or suppressed. Nightmares, for instance, can be your shadow self protesting your refusal to confront repressed emotions or painful memories. When you courageously stay present in a nightmare rather than trying to escape it, you might discover that the monsters or tormentors are actually wounded parts of your psyche, pleading for recognition and healing. By doing so, you not only transform the nature of that dream, but also create subtle shifts in your daily life, reducing feelings of anxiety or unresolved tension that previously kept you on edge. In parallel with personal transformation, historical texts suggest that genuine dream mastery shapes your collective consciousness as well. The ancients built entire temples dedicated to dream incubation, believing that individual insights gleaned at night could benefit entire communities. People would enter these sacred sites performing rituals or prayers designed to align their consciousness with higher frequencies. The dreams they experienced were then interpreted as not just personal messages, but also vital pieces of communal wisdom. In these settings, the separation between private dream and a public revelation was blurred. Such communal dream work contrasted sharply with the modern notion of dreams as private experiences to be disclosed only in the privacy of a therapist's office, if at all. Today, we often hesitate to share dream experiences, publicly fearing ridicule or misunderstanding. That cultural hesitation itself is indicative of how far we've drifted from venerating dreams as sacred or instructive. When an entire society devalues the dream state, it loses access to a massive reservoir of intuitive intelligence and spiritual guidance. Nonetheless, a quiet resurgence of dream exploration is underway. More people are turning to techniques like lucid dreaming, astral projection, and specialized meditation for bridging waking awareness with dream states. Technological innovations in biofeedback and brainwave entrainment can help some practitioners achieve lucidity, but these are merely external aids. The real key lies within intentional practice, setting the stage before sleep journaling upon waking, and patiently decoding the cryptic messages from the night. Over time, one's dream recall sharpens and dream symbols take on an enchanting clarity. On a societal level, if enough individuals begin to reclaim this lost art, the repercussions could be profound. Imagine a culture where nightly dreams are discussed as a regular part of community gatherings, recognized for their capacity to highlight hidden problems, forecast collective trends, or spark creative solutions. Imagine leadership guided not just by rational analyses, but also by the wisdom gleaned from genuine communion with deeper layers of consciousness. Far from being a utopian fantasy, this vision harks back to how numerous ancient civilizations operated, merging the rational and intuitive, the physical and the spiritual into a cohesive whole. Yet awakening to this dimension of self and society requires facing possible resistance. Many who have begun to access the dream realms consciously report that their personal relationships, career paths, or life goals shift dramatically. Once you see through illusions designed to maintain complacency, it's nearly impossible to behave as though you haven't glimpsed the deeper truth. And while that can be unsettling, it is also a sign of authentic growth. By venturing into these hidden layers of reality, you expand your sense of identity and purpose. One of the most potent realizations you can have once you explore the dream realms is that your nightly excursions are in many ways rehearsals for the ultimate transition, what many call death. Far from being a grim perspective, it's a sacred insight echoing throughout spiritual traditions. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, for instance, emphasizes that death mirrors certain states we already experience in life, especially in the dream state. The so-called bardo phases described there are reminiscent of the layered realms your soul traverses when freed from the constraints of the body during sleep. The ancient Egyptians likewise invested extensive resources and ritual into understanding how one's consciousness navigates beyond physical demise, viewing nightly sleep as a microcosmic enactment of that grand passage. If, as these traditions suggest, you're quietly practicing the art of leaving your body every time you doze off, then the fear of death begins to erode. You've already touched that liminal space. Your soul recognizes the subtle environments that lie just beyond the veil of daily perception. This recognition can lead to an empowered way of living because it unshackles you from existential dread. You start to see your current life as one chapter in a much broader odyssey of the soul, one that will continue beyond the boundaries of physical incarnation. Moreover, the parallels between the dream state and post-death states propose that your spiritual evolution here and now has far-reaching consequences. Lucid dreaming is not merely a skill for having interesting nightly adventures. It's training to navigate transitional realms with awareness. By learning to recognize and move consciously in dreams, you refine your capacity to maintain clarity after the body's final breath. You become adept at discerning illusions from truth, grappling with unresolved karma, and ultimately merging more fully with your higher essence, less weighed down by confusion or fear. But you need not wait until life's final moments to reap the benefits. The dreamer who masters self-awareness in the astral world typically manifests a stronger sense of purpose in the waking domain. Creativity, empathy, and problem-solving skills flourish because the dreamer has learned how to integrate insights from multiple layers of consciousness. Night by night, you gather wisdom from the soul's vantage point and transfer it into your daily interactions. A once mundane conversation can suddenly appear laden with symbolism that illuminates a path toward resolution or innovation. Such an existence requires the dismantling of old paradigms. Traditional societal structures often discourage deep introspection into death, labeling it macabre or impractical. But if you adopt a different lens viewing death as a natural progression, intimately connected with the sleep state, then that taboo dissolves into acceptance. Recognizing that our rehearsing for that journey every single night transforms the concept of death from something to be dreaded into a profound teacher. Summoning the courage to lean into this expanded perspective of sleep and death means stepping into a landscape of both uncharted wonder and personal accountability. Once you acknowledge that your consciousness is traveling beyond the physical realm every night, it becomes evident that you are an active participant in these journeys, rather than a passive observer. This subtle but powerful shift in self-perception rewires your relationship with daily reality. Suddenly, the sense of self extends beyond what you do for a living, beyond your social roles, and even beyond your personal history. Instead, You begin to experience yourself as a fluid field of awareness, continuously dancing between multiple realities, some of which are denser like ordinary waking life and some more ethereal like the dream world. This paradigm shift challenges you to confront your own fears and limitations. For instance, if you consistently dream about being chased by an ominous figure, it could symbolize unresolved anxiety or trauma. With renewed awareness, you might choose to stop running and face this entity directly in your dream. By doing so, you realize that the menace is but a reflection of your own suppressed fears, yearning for release. Consciously interacting with that part of your psyche in the dream world diffuses its power over you. The result, a sense of liberation that follows you into daytime, often manifesting as newly found courage or healthier boundaries. Your approach to spiritual and religious teachings can also undergo a dramatic transformation. Elements of faith and doctrine that once seemed unrelatable or purely symbolic might now resonate on a visceral level. The notion of angel spirits or deities guiding you in the darkness may no longer sound implausible when you've felt their presence guiding you in lucid dreams. Likewise, ideas of an afterlife become more tangible, for you have already practiced a semblance of exiting the body. This integrative understanding opens doors to deeper compassion and empathy, as you see that everyone you meet is navigating similar layers of consciousness, whether they realize it or not. As you delve deeper into dream work, you might notice a gathering momentum, a flow of synchronicities cropping up in your life. Chance meetings occur at precisely the right moments, or you receive confirmation in your dreams for decisions you're making in your day. You begin to notice that the boundaries between the so-called real world and the dream world are more permeable than you once believed. Instead of existing as two separate realms, they form an interconnected tapestry of experience, each continually informing and reshaping the other. At this juncture, doubt can still arise after all-powerful cultural, scientific, and social forces have long told you that dreams are trivial or nonsensical. But your personal experiences of transformation stand as unshakable evidence. As your dream life grows richer, your waking life does as well. You become more present, more attuned, and strangely more at peace in a world that once seemed to enforce rigid limitations on what is possible. Welcoming you now into the second arc of this exploration, we turn our attention more precisely to the phenomenon of lucid dreaming, often hailed as a gateway skill for anyone yearning to become a conscious traveler of the night. Lucid dreaming doesn't emerge from luck alone. It's typically developed through careful intention, consistent practice, and an unwavering belief in your ability to remain aware, even while your body rests. Once you taste that first moment of clarity, when the dream's vivid colors and shapes no longer fool you into believing they are the only reality, you may never look at sleep the same way again. Achieving lucidity begins with simple steps, placing a journal by your bedside and writing down every image, sensation, or fragment you can recall immediately upon waking. Over time, patterns emerge, symbols that appear repeatedly or emotional undercurrents that weave through different dreams. This act of documentation serves two vital functions. Firstly, it sends a clear message to your subconscious that dreams matter, effectively priming you to recall more details. Secondly, it allows the rational mind to detect recurring themes and anomalies that might otherwise drift into oblivion. You may discover that you repeatedly dream of water whenever you face stress at work, or that a mysterious guide shows up whenever your soul yearns for comfort. These realizations can spark deeper inquiries into both your inner life and your outer circumstances. Alongside journaling, many discover that reality checks help foster lucidity. A reality check can be as simple as periodically asking yourself during your waking hours, "Am I dreaming now?" This might seem ridiculous at first, but the habit seeps into your subconscious. Eventually, during actual dreams, you'll pose the question and notice obvious signs like the clock hands spinning nonsensically or your feet not quite touching the ground as you walk. That realization in the dream triggers the exhilarating aha moment of lucidity. What follows can be anything from sheer wonder to a disorienting recognition that the world around you is more plastic and responsive than you ever imagined. But it's not about manipulation for its own sake. Many novices, upon attaining lucidity, use the power to materialize lavish dream settings, conjure desired experiences, or indulge in fantasies of flight. While this is a thrilling introduction, deeper forms of dream work go beyond sensational experiences. Lucidity then becomes a tool for shadow work, healing, and spiritual insight. Instead of using your newfound power to shape the dream superficially, you might choose to call forth your higher self for guidance or confront a nightmare with compassionate curiosity. In this sense, lucid dreaming transforms into a spiritual practice akin to meditation, as it involves focusing the mind, maintaining equanimity in the face of shifting illusions, and opening yourself to revelations from beyond the ego's everyday concerns. Encountering guides and non-physical beings is another dimension of the dream world that captures the attention of spiritual seekers. People throughout history have reported dreams in which a radiant figure or a wise mentor offers cryptic advice that later proves invaluable. Some interpret these figures as ancestral spirits, others as ascended masters or aspects of one's higher consciousness. Regardless of their exact nature, their appearance can mark a profound turning point, unveiling levels of understanding unattainable through ordinary intellectual pursuits. At times, these dream presences communicate through direct telepathy, bypassing language altogether. You might receive entire blocks of knowledge, visuals, or emotional understanding instantaneously. Upon waking, the clarity may dissolve, or you may retain only key aspects, but the inner shift remains. This phenomenon underscores why dreams should not be dismissed as random neural firings. The richness of content and depth of significance often surpass anything you routinely encounter in waking life. Your relationship with these guides can deepen over repeated encounters. You may sense that these beings have distinct personalities or energies consistent across multiple dreams, and that they know you intimately, more intimately perhaps, than anyone in the physical realm. Such recurring dream figures can serve as catalysts for immense growth. They may challenge you to examine aspects of yourself you habitually avoid, or they might help you process life events that seem too overwhelming to handle through conscious deliberation. On occasion, you'll find that these guides are not external entities, but projections of your own wisdom, a part of you that remains connected to higher truths, while your waking mind is busy with daily tasks. This perspective is common in Jungian psychology, which posits that dream figures sometimes represent archetypes of your unconscious. Yet even that view does not preclude the existence of genuinely independent intelligences. In many mystic traditions, these two interpretations merge fluidly. Ancestral spirits, higher dimensional beings, or your own soul essence could all contribute to these encounters, blending realms in ways that defy neat categorization. The challenge is to learn discernment. Not every dream figure is benevolent or aligned with your highest good. Just as in waking life, the dream realms contain diverse energies. Some experiences may stir confusion or fear, particularly if you stumble into lower vibrational realms. Learning to hold your ground, anchored in love and clarity, can become an essential skill. Practices like pre-sleep prayers, protective visualizations, or simply setting a firm intention can serve as spiritual safeguards. Much like locking your door at night, these small acts of mindfulness help define the energetic boundaries for your journey. As you continue along this path, remember the ultimate purpose isn't to create a new hierarchy of dream knowledge, but to unify all aspects of yourself, the conscious and unconscious, the light and the shadow, into a harmonious whole. Guides can point you in the right direction, but your own inner wisdom remains the final authority. One particularly fascinating phenomenon you'll encounter is the presence of dreamscapes that seem to be shared or collectively constructed. Accounts of shared dreams surface throughout history, where two or more people wake up reporting remarkably similar dream environments, events, or dialogue. From a strict materialist standpoint, such narratives make little sense. How could different brains sleeping in different places possibly co-create or visit the same non-physical location? Yet this is precisely what numerous spiritual systems and first-hand accounts suggest. They propose that consciousness, once untethered from the body, can enter expansive domains where individual boundaries blur, allowing for direct interaction with others who are likewise traveling in this multi-dimensional playground. Group astral journeys are sometimes described in esoteric circles. Small collectives set an intention to meet in a specific dream setting, such as a vibrant field or a certain temple. With practice, they might wake the next morning and confirm strikingly similar recollections, a testament, perhaps, to an intrinsic interconnectedness that transcends physical separation. While mainstream science demands replicable data, these anecdotal reports persist, quietly challenging the prevailing worldview. If consciousness truly merges and overlaps in sleep, then the structure of reality is far more fluid and communal than we typically assume. A related concept is the notion of an astral hub or a shared teaching space. Some individuals report that every so often they return to the same grand library, cathedral-like hall or shimmering cityscape, meeting familiar souls or guides. These experiences often feel more real than real, imprinted with a depth of color, sound, and emotional resonance that stands out against ordinary dream imagery. People from vastly different cultures and backgrounds have given remarkably consistent descriptions of certain cosmic locales, hinting at the possibility that these shared spaces objectively exist at a higher energetic frequency accessible through the dream state. Such ideas were not alien to ancient civilizations. Records from Greek and Roman mystery schools discuss collective dream temples where initiates engaged in dream incubation for communal prophecy. Even Egyptian pyramids may have functioned as gateways for group journeys guided by priesthoods adept in navigating astral realms. These societies understood that the dream state can serve not just individual growth, but the collective evolution of a culture. Rulers often consulted dream oracles, believing that astral insights carried implications for societal health, impending crises, or foreign relations. Modern attempts to revive these practices are sprouting. Some groups hold virtual gatherings dedicated to synchronizing dream intentions, hoping to reconvene in a mutual astral space. Though results vary, participants frequently report spontaneous synchronicities that seem too precise to be random. They might share details of the same symbolic animals or architectural features, igniting robust debates about the nature of consciousness and the thin lines separating individual minds. Whether you accept these phenomena as literal truths or interpret them metaphorically, they expand the conversation about who we are and what's possible. You begin to grasp that individual healing is inexorably linked to collective awareness. When multiple explorers affirm that they have touched the same astral tapestry, it underscores a timeless spiritual truth. Beneath our differences, we share a boundless web of connection. As you explore the frontiers of dreaming, another vital piece of the puzzle emerges: the role of emotion, intention, and vibration. For many, the dream state appears chaotic or whimsical, but deeper scrutiny reveals it to be extraordinarily responsive to the energy you bring. Think about fear. If you fall asleep heavily burdened by fear of nightmares, fear of the unknown, or even fear of losing control, you may attract dream experiences that reflect that fear back to you. This feedback loop can intensify anxiety, creating a cycle in which each negative dream further cements your apprehensions. Conversely, if you ground yourself in gratitude, love, or curiosity before slipping into sleep, you open a doorway to dreamscapes that resonate with those higher frequencies. This principle, sometimes referred to as the law of attraction, but applied to astral planes, underscores the significance of pre-sleep rituals. Whether you pray, meditate, chant, or simply hold a clear intention, you're effectively tuning your consciousness. Much like adjusting the dial on an old radio, your mental and emotional state determines which channel of dream experience you lock into. This dynamic becomes especially evident in lucid dreams. Once you realize you're dreaming, your mood and mindset can instantaneously shape the unfolding narrative. Approach a menacing figure with anger or hostility, and that figure may escalate into a more threatening adversary. Meet the same figure with compassion or curiosity and watch it transform, sometimes into a benign companion, or vanish altogether. Observing how fluidly the dream environment responds to your inner shifts leads to an epiphany. Your state of mind isn't just a passive backdrop, but a co-creative force that sculpts your experiential reality. Such revelations inevitably spill over into the waking world. Gradually, you see parallels everywhere. A combative emotional stance in your daily life draws more conflict, while an attitude of openness and empathy invites supportive relationships. Where before you might have dismissed this as simplistic, positive thinking, now you've witnessed the underlying mechanics in the dream state. The lines blur, convincing you that waking reality too might be more malleable than you once thought. This is what ancient mystery schools meant when they taught that as above, so below. The microcosm, your mind, and the macrocosm, the experiential world, mirror each other. Mastering your emotional energy in dreams trains you to master it in everyday challenges. With practice, you develop an almost radar-like sensitivity to the energies you emit. Then, the intention to remain calm and centered in a heated conversation, for instance, becomes more than just good advice. It becomes an energetic imperative aligned with how you've learned to navigate astral realms. In time, you may come to regard your emotional frequency as the single most influential factor in the quality of your life experiences, both waking and dreaming. Recognizing the sacred responsibility you hold for your own energy can be intimidating at first, but it is ultimately profoundly empowering. Another domain where dream work shines is healing of body, mind, and spirit. Many accounts exist of dream-based healing, both spontaneous and deliberately induced. Some people experience dramatic improvements in chronic illnesses after encountering healing symbols or performing dream-based meditations. Others find resolution for deep-seated emotional wounds by reliving and transforming the root causes within a dream narrative. In lucid dreams, you can consciously seek out healing experiences, visualizing yourself bathed in luminous energy or inviting dream guides to address your imbalances. This phenomenon is not as mysterious as it might initially seem. If we accept that the physical body is an outward manifestation of deeper energetic and psychological layers, then it follows that healing can begin at those subtler levels. In your dream, when you imagine or feel an infusion of light washing over you, you are effectively shifting something fundamental in your energy field. Upon waking, the changes in your energy field may translate into tangible improvements. Alternative medical systems such as traditional Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine have long underscored the importance of these energetic dimensions in maintaining well-being. Dreams in this view are simply another avenue for engaging the wisdom of the body-mind-spirit continuum. That said, dream healing isn't always immediate or miraculous. Sometimes it operates like peeling layers of an onion, revealing deeper aspects that require attention. For instance, you might find a repetitive dream about being lost in a hospital. Perhaps you discover upon reflection that you carry a fear of vulnerability linked to a past medical trauma. By consciously revisiting this dream scenario and offering compassion to your frightened self, you unravel emotional knots that could be contributing to physical or psychological unease. There's also a collective aspect to dream healing. Indigenous groups in various parts of the world historically practiced communal dream sharing, where individuals' dreams were explored not only for personal meaning, but also for potential community healing. If someone dreamt of a looming illness or a crisis ritual, interventions could be performed proactively. In certain traditions, the dreamer's role resembled that of a seer or prophet, warning the group of spiritual imbalances that might manifest as material hardships. While many of these practices were systematically repressed, they are gradually re-emerging through the work of cultural revivalists and holistic health advocates who see dream work as part of a broader toolkit for fostering harmony in individuals and communities alike. All of this ultimately expands your perspective on wellness. Physical health is no longer an isolated phenomenon controlled only by diet, exercise, or medication. Instead, it becomes one aspect of a more comprehensive tapestry that includes emotional balance, spiritual alignment, and conscious interaction with astral states. As you integrate dream-based healing practices, you honor your entire being, tending not just to symptoms, but to the deeper wellsprings of vitality that animate your day-to-day life. At this juncture, it's valuable to revisit why modern society, by and large, has marginalized the dream experience. Some point to the Enlightenment era's emphasis on rationalism and empirical evidence. As scientific methods advanced our understanding of the physical world phenomena that couldn't be quantified or replicated under controlled conditions were increasingly dismissed. Dreams with their subjective shape-shifting nature did not fare well under these criteria. They became relegated to the domain of psychologists or trivialized as idle fantasies. Yet, as quantum physics unravels the conventional notions of space-time and matter, the door reopens to more nuanced understandings of consciousness. Subatomic particles exhibit behavior that defies common logic, hinting that what we perceive as solid reality is governed by principles of probability and relational observation. To some, these discoveries parallel the plastic, interdependent nature of dreams. The mind or consciousness seems to be a significant factor in shaping how reality unfolds both at the micro and macro levels. There's also the socio-political element. A populace well-versed in the fluid possibilities of consciousness is tougher to subjugate through fear-based narratives. After all, why blindly submit to any external authority if you have direct access to realms that nourish your wisdom, creativity, and personal power? Historically, hegemonic institutions, be they governments or religious hierarchies, may have found it more convenient to stir the masses towards simpler, more controllable worldviews. Dream knowledge, especially when it fosters independence and spiritual autonomy, often faced censure or dismissal as heretical heresy or unscientific. Despite these historical and cultural barriers, interest in dream phenomena persists and is in fact resurgent in certain circles. Thanks to the global connectivity of the internet, a dreamer in one corner of the world can now exchange experiences with someone across the ocean, forging a community of explorers who corroborate each other's findings. This synergy accelerates progress in dream work techniques, from advanced lucid dreaming protocols to experiments in shared dreaming. While mainstream academia may observe from a distance, pockets of open-minded researchers and citizen scientists continue pushing the boundaries of what's accepted. Furthermore, as mental health crises escalate worldwide, manifesting as anxiety, depression, and widespread existential dread, more people are seeking answers beyond the limitations of conventional therapy or pharmacology. Dreams, with their capacity to surface deep-seated emotional truths and spiritual yearnings, offer a complementary path to self-understanding. Clinicians who acknowledge the value of patients' dream content often find it to be a direct line into core issues that conversation alone fails to address. Hence, the overshadowing of dream experiences in our modern setting is not absolute. The shift in consciousness, both at the individual and collective levels, is beginning to take hold. As you delve further into dream exploration, you become an active participant in that shift, gradually eroding the rigid frameworks that once dismissed an entire dimension of human experience. Reflect for a moment on the most visceral dream you can recall. Maybe it was a nightmare that jolted you awake, heart pounding and skin damp with sweat. Maybe it was a blissful flight through starlit skies, leaving you with a sensation of immense freedom. Whatever it was, that dream offered you a taste, a fleeting yet potent realization of how reality can feel profoundly different than what your daily routines present. It might have lasted only minutes, yet its emotional impact could linger for hours or days. Dreams can do that because they often bypass the filters of the conscious mind, going straight to the seat of your deeper self. When you intentionally harness this capacity, you step into the role of a sovereign dreamer, no longer a casual visitor, but an active participant in the dream's unfolding. The difference between passively floating through a dream and consciously navigating it is enormous. Sovereign dreamers can engage dialogues, alter landscapes, and gather insights that empower them upon waking. The key is mindful intention. If you drift to sleep mentally rehashing daily frustrations, you may find yourself in chaotic dreams that merely echo unresolved tension. But if you lie down with a calm mind and a clear focus, perhaps visualizing a doorway that leads to a place of deeper learning, you're positioning yourself to receive exactly what you need for the next phase of your inner evolution. Crucially, sovereignty in dreaming doesn't imply absolute control. A degree of surrender remains necessary. The dream realms have their own intelligence, offering lessons and synchronicities that can't be forced into neat packages. Sometimes you may encounter dream events that catch you off guard, challenging preconceived notions of who you are and what you believe. True sovereignty then involves a delicate balance, knowing when to steer and when to allow the dream's unfolding to guide you somewhere unexpected yet meaningful. Such interplay reveals that dreams are not merely illusions, but reflections of your ongoing dance with the cosmos. Their content can be shaped by your subconscious, your higher self, and even collective or archetypal energies swirling within the collective psyche. Therefore, to master dream work is to become a more conscious co-creator of your entire life experience. You learn to read the subtle cues that appear in your sleeping hours, translating them into waking actions that lead you closer to alignment with your soul's purpose. Think of each night as a fresh invitation to explore uncharted corridors of your own psyche. The journey unfolds in an ever-evolving tapestry, with each dream building upon the last. As you maintain dream journals, practice reality checks, or engage in meditative rituals before sleep, you're consciously weaving a relationship with the unseen realms. In doing so, you also reclaim a piece of humanity's ancient heritage, a dimension of existence that was never truly lost, only overshadowed by centuries of disbelief. We enter the final portion of this journey, centering on how to integrate your dream insights into the tapestry of daily existence, ultimately dissolving the stark separation between day and night, between waking logic and nocturnal intuition. By now, you may see the nights as a time of potential revelation rather than a mere lapse of consciousness. But how do you anchor those ephemeral glimpses of higher truth into your interactions, decisions, and overall worldview? It begins with a conscious shift in perspective, viewing sleep not as an endpoint, but as the threshold to a vibrant inner world. Simple adjustments to your bedtime routine can have a cascading effect. Light a candle, or use soft lighting, perhaps playing gentle music that resonates with your soul. Engage in breath work to calm your mind and slow your heartbeat. Then set an intention, something direct yet open-ended, like, "Tonight I invite clarity and healing," or "I am ready to receive what my soul wishes me to know." In doing so, you declare to your unconscious that this is sacred time. Upon waking, the real work continues. Whether you recall a dream or not, begin each morning with a moment of reflection. If dream fragments linger, write them down. Even one or two scattered images can contain seeds of understanding that will blossom later. Avoid immediate immersion into digital devices, or stressful tasks that can scatter your inner focus. Give yourself the gift of a few moments to be still, to let any residual dream feelings or symbols percolate in your conscious awareness. This practice not only trains your recall, but also affirms your belief in the significance of your dream life. As your dream recall strengthens, patterns may emerge that relate directly to your daily challenges. You might notice how your dream stories reveal hidden beliefs about relationships, career, or self-worth. Integrating these messages can involve various methods. Some people find creative expression, painting, writing, or music a powerful medium for translating dream symbols into tangible art. Others might meditate on dream images, asking for deeper guidance on why a particular scene or figure appeared. Still others find value in group discussions or online communities where fellow explorers can offer perspectives you might not have considered. This process of integration is not a one-time event. It's a living practice akin to tending a garden. Sometimes the signs are immediate and you have an aha moment that clarifies a real-world dilemma. Other times, symbols remain cryptic, requiring patience and ongoing self-inquiry. The key is consistency, a steady willingness to treat your dream experiences as allies in your quest for wholeness. Over time, you'll discern a dialogue forming between your inner and outer worlds, with synchronicities bridging the gap. Ultimately, the goal is to foster a unified state of consciousness, where the insights gleaned in dreams bleed into your waking perceptions, guiding your choices and expanding your sense of reality. In that unity, you stand at the center of your own universe, neither subservient to external dictates nor isolated from collective currents. So what does it look like practically to live as someone who remembers their nightly travel? One noticeable shift is a greater ease in addressing everyday obstacles. Because your dreams continuously bring forth metaphors or direct reflections of your psyche, you become skilled at recognizing and transforming core issues rather than treating surface symptoms. As a result, conflicts in relationships might resolve more smoothly. Personal projects gain momentum and your sense of purpose crystallizes in surprising ways. To illustrate, imagine you've had recurring dreams of endless hallways where you feel disoriented. By examining these dreams, you uncover an unmet desire for direction in your professional life. You realize that the sense of wandering at work is mirrored in your dream journeys. Motivated by this revelation, you start taking steps toward new job opportunities or additional training. And over time, the hallway dreams subside. The outcome is not just a more fulfilling career, but also a profound trust in your inner radar. You've proven to yourself that the dream realm and everyday reality operate as two sides of the same coin. You might also find that your interactions with others shift as your empathic faculties heighten. When you traverse multiple layers of reality at night, you become more attuned to subtle emotional cues during the day. This heightened empathy can manifest as deeper connections with friends, family, or even strangers. It can also challenge you to maintain proper boundaries, as you might sense the pains and desires of those around you more acutely. Over time, this empathic attunement evolves into compassionate action, counseling someone in distress, volunteering, or advocating for a cause that resonates with you on a soul level. As your transformation unfolds, don't be surprised if people around you notice shifts in your energy. They might comment that you appear more grounded, more open, or simply different. Some may inquire about your secret, while others might look upon your changes with skepticism. Reactions vary, and not everyone will embrace or understand your journey. Yet that, too, becomes part of the lesson holding your ground with humility and grace. After all, your experiences speak for themselves in how they manifest through your personal growth and well-being. Additionally, you might develop the ability to tap into dreamlike states even while awake. Techniques like hypnagogic meditation or daydream reveries can serve as quick doorways to intuitive insights. These pockets of reverie, if approached consciously, resemble micro-lucid dreams. They can deliver symbolic messages or sudden epiphanies that help you navigate challenges in real time. In essence, the boundary between sleep and wakefulness continues to blur, revealing an expanded canvas upon which consciousness paints your reality. At its core, this is a path of self-empowerment. You're no longer a passive recipient of life's circumstances, but an active co-creator who uses both day and night to shape your destiny. Every conscious choice you make, be it in the realm of dreams or the tangible world, serves as a brushstroke contributing to the masterpiece of your evolving life narrative. Such a lifestyle inevitably sparks larger existential questions. Who are you beyond your personality, your name, or your societal roles? Where do you truly go when your eyes are closed and your body rests? The partial answers you glean from dream exploration can be staggering. With each vivid or lucid dream, you accumulate proof that there's a larger tapestry of existence in which you're intimately woven. You might witness scenarios suggesting reincarnation, parallel timelines, or dimensions that challenge conventional logic. Or you could reconnect with loved ones who have passed away, conversing in dreamscapes that radiate comfort and familiarity. Each of these encounters chisels away at the materialist narrative that life is confined to mere physical survival. They hint that consciousness persists in forms that can't be neatly encapsulated in lab reports. This is the point where spiritual beliefs, once relegated to the domain of faith alone, merge with direct experiential knowledge. While you might not have all the answers, you at least recognize that reality is vaster and more mysterious than textbooks once led you to believe. This recognition can be both exhilarating and humbling. You see that your daily dramas, while important, are set against a backdrop of cosmic proportions. It fosters an attitude of reverence for the simple things in life, a walk in nature, a heartfelt conversation, or the silent gaze at the night sky, because you sense the interweaving of seen and unseen energies in each moment. You might even find that your creative impulses surge, leading you to express this expanded awareness through art, music writing, or other forms of cultural contribution. Yet the journey does not guarantee perpetual bliss. The dream world can show you truths you're not prepared to face. Shadow aspects, fears, resentments, or traumas can surface powerfully when you consistently engage with dream states. This is where courage and self-compassion become essential. Instead of dismissing or running from unsettling dreams, you learn to dialogue with them. In a lucid state, you might directly ask a threatening figure, "Why are you here? What do you want me to understand?" The answers, though sometimes discomforting, pave the way for genuine healing. Over time, the boundaries of your identity blur further. You see how interconnected you are with other beings, both physical and non-physical. You might sense that part of you exists simultaneously in multiple timelines or in your dreams occasionally overlap with those of friends and loved ones. Strangely, what once seemed like science fiction or spiritual lore becomes a living reality to you, though you carry it lightly, knowing that words often fail to capture the profundity of such experiences. All these revelations push you toward a more inclusive worldview, one that honors diverse perspectives. In recognizing your own vastness, you also see the vastness in others. Spiritual doctrines, once foreign or distasteful, might strike you as partial insights into a prism of truth that goes far beyond any single tradition. And ultimately you realize that this unfolding never really ends. Each new dream opens a fresh corridor. Each corridor leads to more self-discovery. Historically, individuals who ventured deeply into dream work often transitioned into roles of guidance for others, becoming shamans, dream interpreters, or spiritual mentors in their communities. While modern society may not always recognize these roles by the same names, the essential functions remain. For instance, therapists who incorporate dream analysis or mindfulness coaches who introduce lucid dreaming exercises effectively uphold the legacy of ancient dream temples, albeit in an updated format. If you discover a passion for guiding others, you might find yourself informally taking on a similar mantle. Friends or family could approach you with perplexing dreams, seeking clarity they sense you can provide. This responsibility calls for discernment and humility. Although you may have gained fluency in traversing dreamscapes, each individual's internal symbolism remains unique. Your task isn't to impose dogmatic interpretations, but to help others unlock their own intuitive understanding. In many cases, simply listening attentively can be a powerful catalyst. Most people rarely have the opportunity to discuss their dreams with anyone who takes them seriously. By offering presence and curiosity, you validate their inner experiences, encouraging them to delve deeper. Sometimes a single question like, "How did you feel in that moment?" or "What does that symbol mean to you?" can open floodgates of self-awareness. This might lead them toward personal revelations that ripple outward into their relationships, work, and creative pursuits. Moreover, as you become more adept, you may wish to integrate formal techniques like guided visualizations or group dreamwork sessions into your interactions. Facilitating a group discussion where participants share recurring symbols can foster a collective synergy. Patterns might emerge that reveal communal themes or generational wounds needing attention. Such gatherings can take on a potent, almost ceremonial atmosphere, harkening back to the ancient notion of dream temples as community resources for healing and guidance. Yet it's also important to maintain balance. Immersing yourself in dream work can be as all-consuming as any spiritual practice. Ensure you remain grounded, spend time in nature, engage in physical exercise, and cultivate healthy relationships in your daily life. Regularly reevaluate your own dreams for signs of imbalance or emotional strain. After all, practicing dream exploration does not exempt you from the challenges of being human. It merely offers you more tools for navigating them. If at any point the dream journey becomes overwhelming, perhaps you're bombarded by nightmares or sense you've ventured into realms that stir deep anxieties, remember that you can step back. Just as you can choose to dive deep, you can also choose gentler approaches, focusing on personal grounding and self-care until you regain equilibrium. Dream exploration is a lifelong path, not a competition. the revelations will wait for you unfolding in their own time as you remain open to the dance between seen and unseen world. In the broader cultural context, a renewed embrace of dream work could revolutionize how we approach education, healthcare, and social harmony. Imagine if students were taught at a young age to respect and explore their dreams, not merely as idle stories, but as windows into creativity, problem-solving, and emotional intelligence. Rather than discarding children's fantasies, educators could guide them to articulate and interpret their nightly adventures, building emotional maturity and imaginative thinking. In healthcare, a patient's dream life might serve as an early diagnostic tool for psychological or physiological imbalances. Therapists and medical professionals already acknowledge that stress trauma and certain neurological conditions manifest in dream disturbances. By integrating dream analysis more systematically, practitioners could arrive at holistic treatments that honor both the body and the psyche. Similarly, communal dream-sharing sessions in hospitals could provide emotional support to those undergoing serious illnesses. Such unconventional methods might sound radical today, but they resonate with age-old practices that recognized the integral role of the spirit in healing. On a societal scale, fostering collective dream inquiry could potentially reduce polarization. Many of our societal rifts stem from deeply ingrained fears and misperceptions. When individuals share vulnerability through dream experiences, narratives that bypass the rational ego, it can create empathy that debate alone fails to achieve. The symbolic language of dreams may allow us to discuss sensitive issues in a more universal, less confrontational framework, opening hearts and minds that remain locked when approached with purely logical arguments. Of course, none of this implies that dream work is a magical panacea for all societal ill. Humans are complex, and layers of historical trauma and systemic dysfunction require multifaceted solutions. However, the dream realm could complement other strategies, offering an often neglected gateway into personal and collective transformation. It provides a safe space for direct encounters with archetypal energies, those deep emotional currents that shape civilizations, for better or worse. The dream can become a rehearsal stage where new paradigms first germinate before blossoming into waking reality. In many respects, this cultural renaissance of dream work is already underway. The rising popularity of holistic wellness, programs, meditation apps, and alternative healing methods suggests a growing appetite for deeper experiences of consciousness. Virtual platforms devoted to dream sharing and interpretation are popping up, attracting cross-cultural dialogue and forging global communities. In an increasingly divided world, such communal engagement around inner exploration can act as a unifying force, reminding us of our shared humanity at a fundamental level. Above all, these possibilities underscore that your personal dream journey is not an isolated venture. Each time you heal a part of yourself or glean a life-changing insight from your dreams, that shift radiates outward. Even in subtle ways, through the energy you carry, the words you speak, the empathy you extend, you contribute to a collective that is, in essence, weaving the tapestry of tomorrow. By now, the notion of sleep as mere rest seems far too limited. You can appreciate how the ancient cultures grasped a more holistic view that the body's nightly quiescence is the spirit's window of opportunity to roam. You also recognize the parallels between dream travel and the journey beyond physical death, seeing each nightly departure as as a small-scale rehearsal for the ultimate crossing of the veil. This knowledge need not make life grim, but rather imbue it with an almost transcendent calm. You know that part of you continues that consciousness itself cannot be confined to flesh and bone. Equipped with this insight, your approach to fear, especially the fear of mortality, begins to transmute. Death becomes less an abrupt finale and more a passage, a grander version of the boundary you cross each night. In that sense, your time in this physical incarnation feels both precious and yet not final. The tension between these two truths can fuel your desire to live fully in each moment, guided by an inner compass that you refine nightly in the dream realms. This shift in attitude often paves the way for deeper gratitude. Mundane joys like sipping tea at sunrise, sharing laughter with loved ones, or listening to the rustle of leaves take on an elevated significance. They become anchors that ground you in the present, even as part of your awareness dances through cosmic corridors each night. Simultaneously, the desire to rush, hoard, or dominate may loosen its grip, replaced by a gentle clarity about what truly matters. That said, the path is not for everyone. Some individuals aren't ready to confront the expansiveness of their own consciousness or the ways in which modern systems might limit that awareness. Others may briefly explore dream work only to recoil when faced with personal shadows or a demand for deeper accountability. Each person's journey is unique, and no one has the authority to force another into spiritual awakening. Ultimately, the call of the dream realm remains a personal invitation, one that you can accept or decline at your own pace. If you are reading this far, you've likely chosen to accept, at least in principle, the possibility of a broader reality accessed through sleep. You may already have your own stories of dream guidance, prophetic visions, or visits from departed loved ones. Or perhaps you are just stepping onto the path with more curiosity than certainty. Either way, you're equipped with an array of techniques journaling for dream recall, reality checks for lucidity, protective visualizations, and open-hearted dialogue with the figures you meet. What lies ahead is a dance of unfolding each new dream, building upon your previous experiences, each fresh insight birthing more questions than answers. And that is precisely the nature of genuine exploration, to remain humble before the great mysteries while stepping forward boldly enough to learn from them. We arrive now at the culmination of our journey. Yet in truth, it's an invitation to your next beginning. The knowledge shared here aims to illuminate what has long been hidden in plain sight, that sleep is not an inert hiatus, but a multidimensional excursion, that dreams are not trivial illusions, but potent messengers, and that each night your soul dances in realms as tangible and instructive as the daylight world. By reclaiming this understanding, you join a lineage of seekers, stretching back to the dawn of recorded history, united by the conviction that consciousness transcends physical form. Here you stand on the threshold between worlds, equipped with enough insight to transform how you navigate both your nights and your days. Skepticism or societal conditioning might still whisper that this is too far-fetched, too mystical. But remember how you felt in those most vivid dreams, the crystalline colors, the depth of emotion, the sense of familiarity with something far grander than yourself. Those experiences are not fantasies. They are part of your ever-unfolding reality. In practical terms, you now have a toolkit, the dream journal, to decode symbolic languages, the moment-by-moment awareness that fosters lucidity, the emotional alignment that shapes your astral encounters, and the openness to receive guidance from sources both within and beyond your immediate self. More than that, you carry a living conviction that the path of the conscious dreamer is integral to spiritual evolution, personal healing, and perhaps even the cultural paradigm shifts our world so urgently needs. As you move forward, be patient with yourself. Growth, especially at the level of soul integration, seldom proceeds in neat, linear fashion. You will have nights of profound revelation, followed by weeks of hazy dreaming. You may experience dramatic lucidity one month only to struggle with recall the next. Each phase holds lessons for you, and each step invites a balance of dedication and surrender. Know also that you are not alone. Even if those around you remain immersed in the old narrative that sleep is simply a break from real life, countless souls across the globe are awakening in parallel. They too are reclaiming the sacred night, forging a tapestry of collective remembering. When you feel the pull of isolation or doubt, reach out. Share your stories in safe circles, whether virtual or physical. In doing so, you give voice to the deeper truths that connect all who dare to dream with their eyes wide open. And so as this extended reflection draws to a close, the real work begins in you. Tonight, when you lie down to rest, do so with reverence. Recognize that the journey continues, yours, mine, and that of every conscious traveler. The dream realm awaits, pulsing with possibilities. May you cross its threshold with courage and grace, discovering worlds within that reshuffle your sense of wonder and reshape the destiny you weave in waking hours. Safe travels, fellow dreamer. Your soul has known the way all along. Reflecting personally, embracing the idea that dreams hold profound meaning has genuinely transformed how I experience daily life. It's remarkable to see how paying attention to my nightly journeys has deepened my understanding of myself and strengthened my connections with others. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Have you had dreams that felt meaningful, prophetic, or mysteriously connected to your waking life? Please share your insights in the comments below. Your stories can inspire others and spark conversations that help all of us grow together. After all, when we openly discuss the hidden wisdom of our dreams, we not only awaken deeper truths within ourselves, but also create a community where we feel less alone and more connected in exploring